About some of the basics of angles. The section is 13-2. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, this is an angle right here. It is going to be two rays that share a common vertex called the share a common point called the vertex. This point right here, S, is going to be your vertex. Okay, point S is going to be the vertex in this case. They're looking for the vertex. It's going to be S, so we know. Okay. When you name this angle, it can be named in three ways. Those three ways are going to be based on these things down here. Okay. It's going to be based on the sides and the vertex. Those things all affect it, so let's identify the sides before we go on to the names. The sides of this angle are going to be the two rays that make it up. Rays are going to start with an endpoint going out, so in this case the sides are going to be the ray. That's how you draw a ray. An arrow always points to the right, it never goes any other direction. And in this case it'd be SR. You always put the end point first and then the direction that it goes. You put one point in that direction. That makes the other side the ray, ST. So that angle has a vertex of S and it has sides of SR and ST. Then when you're going to name the whole angle, there are three separate ways to name it. Now, you can only name an angle by its vertex if it sits completely by itself like this one is right here. If you have an angle like this, you cannot name it angle B, because would you be talking about the one that has a 1 inside of it, or the one with a 2 inside of it, or the whole thing? If you have more than one angle at a location, you cannot call it by its vertex. If we were going to call it by its vertex, though, it would be called angle S. Everything in an angle is based off that middle letter. It is going to be always in the middle or by itself completely. The vertex is what decides where the angle is. I have kids in geometry that still cannot name an angle, and it has truly affected them the entire year. Truly, they admitted, they were like, Miss Riley, I still don't understand where angles are. No matter how much I draw it, tell them how important it is, talk about, like, I had them come in and do worksheets with just the angles on them to try to get it there. You have got to be able to see an angle. Okay, this angle can also be called by 3 points. The vertex must be in the middle. It must be the middle letter, no matter what. Guys, when you name an angle by 3 letters, you cannot start with the middle letter. It's got to go R-S-T, angle R-S-T, or it can go the other way and be angle T-S-R. It cannot start with S. S is the vertex. It must be the middle letter when you're naming it by 3 points. The last way is every once in a while they will put numbers inside of them. They will not always do that, but if they do, it makes it a really easy way to name an angle. If there is a number inside that angle, you can call it angle 2 in this case. Angle and then the number that's inside of there. The most common way is the second way. That's how we'll name most angles in geometry, is by 3 letters. So it is extremely important that you understand what that is, how to name it, and what it looks like. So an angle has an interior and exterior. The interior is going to be inside those 2 rays. However, these rays extend on forever. So in this picture, obviously I cannot draw a straight line, but you get the idea. That ray would continue on forever, and everything in this space is going to be in the interior. Everything outside of that is going to be considered the exterior. In this case, point Q would be on the interior or exterior? Interior. It says, then it wants you to name, what are the 2 other names for angle 2? Ooh, I need a name for angle 2. Guys, here's the angle right here. What would you call that angle? E, B, C. That's one name. Give me another one. Good, CBE. Very good. You can name it forward or backwards, but B must be the middle letter. You cannot call it angle B. Why can you not? It says, could you call any of these angles angle B? The answer is no, but why not? Yeah, because there's more than one angle there. There's 2 angles at angle B. There's actually 3. I'll name them by naming them with, marking them with color. Guys, here's one angle in pink. Okay. Here's another angle in blue. And then there's the big angle. We'll do this one with the black marker. And the whole thing would be the big one. Are we talking about the pink one when we say angle B, the blue one when we say angle B, or the black one right here when we say angle B? It doesn't matter because we can't call it that because you can't tell which one it is. So the answer is no, you cannot name it that way. Concerns, questions, anything? The next thing is going to be about classifying them and talking about congruency between them. Okay, here we go, guys. So when you look at this, this is the congruency symbol again. We've talked about this before. Angles that have the same measure are going to be congruent. You can see these two angles have what's called congruency marks on them. That's what these marks are on angles. Okay, guys, that's what they look like. Instead of the little tick marks, sometimes they have one each. If I added another one over here and another one over here, they would still be congruent because now they have two each. It doesn't matter how many they have. They can have one each, two each, three each. As long as they match, that means they're congruent to each other. In that case, that means the angle 1 would be congruent to angle 2. Besides being congruent, their angles are going to have equal measure, which means the measure, guys, you do measure by putting a lowercase m in front of it when you're dealing with angles. Then you say the measure of angle 1 would be equal to the measure of angle 2. The measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2. This says the actual objects are congruent to each other, same size, same shape. This says their measurements are equal to each other. So if this one is 40, then this one also has to be 40. Now, angles can be classified. There are 4 separate classifications right here. Most of you have been shown these before. Hopefully you will know them. Acute is like a cute little angle. It's going to be between, and this is important that you see this, it is between 0 and 90 degrees. It cannot be 0, it cannot be 90, it's going to be anywhere in between. It can be 0.001, and it is still an acute angle, but if it's 0, it's nothing. Okay? It can't be 0, it can't be 90. If it's 90, then it's going to be a right angle, because 90-degree angles are the only type of angles that are right. An obtuse angle is going to be a larger angle, and it's going to be between what? There you go, between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. Can't be 90 because it can't be right. Can't be 180 because that makes a straight line. It's going to be somewhere in between. It could be 90.001, it could be 179.999. Just can't be 90, can't be 180. Anywhere in between. This last one is a straight angle. Now guys, listen to me. This is something that they invented after I went to school. Guys, what's a straight angle really? A line. That's all it is. However, anywhere you have a line, you can draw an angle right there and put an angle there and put letters on either side of it, but it is still a line. Anytime you're in the classes here at Leon High School, we will call it a line. It's just a straight angle is a line, guys. That's all it is. Don't let that be a big deal. We get people every year that turn that into a big thing, and they are like, but I don't understand. It's just a line. Don't make it complicated. If it's 180 degrees, it's a line. Okay, based on these names, we're going to go through and use what we call, they're not going to hand you a protractor anymore because everything's digital now. So what they're going to do is put angles on a protractor and ask you to measure them. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is just to count them and then classify them. So here we go. So for this first one, AOD. AOD is going to start here at A, go down to O, and then go up at D. You can see it goes from here all the way around to here. Okay? If you start here where it says 0, and you're going to start wherever you want to, and you're going to count by tens as you go to each one of these. It's going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. That's going to put you at a 90-degree angle, and if it's 90 degrees, then what type of angle is that? go. The next one is going to be angle EOC. So this is not going to start at either end. This is why you're going to want to learn to count instead of just using the scale that's on there, because you can't use the scale for this one. It doesn't start at a 0 point. So it goes from E to O to C. So it's going right here, from here to here. And we're counting as we go through that: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So that would be a 70-degree angle, which would make it what type of angle? It is acute. Guys, this is what you got to do on your next test, so got to ask questions if you have any. The next one I'll do in blue. The next one is going to be FOA. FOA. It's the largest one that we're going to do. It's going to go all the way from here, all the way around to here. Now this one does start at a 0 point. You can count with it. It's going to end it up over here. It starts off here at 0, goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. Okay. So that's going to put us at 140 degrees, which makes it what type of angle? Obtuse. Okay, try to find the last one, guys, by yourself. Try to find that last one by yourself. Find the angle, mark it, and then tell me what type it is. Find the angle, mark it, and tell me what type it is. Okay, how many degrees is BOC? Oh, I got different answers. Okay, BOC is right here. If we start here, we're starting at this one, we're going to go 10, 20. That's all it does, is it goes from here to 10 and then to 20. It goes 2 separations. Each one of these separations is 10. So from 30 to 40, 40 to 50, that'd be 10, 20. If it's 20 degrees, what type of angle does that make it? Acute. Acute. There you go, guys. Okay, so the last thing, guys, is going back to a part plus part equals a whole, naming them, dealing with part plus part equals a whole, congruency, those kind of things, applying it to algebra. So let's take a look at these last ones, see what questions you have, and then we'll move on to our assignment for today. So here we go. Okay, it says give another name for angle 1. Just so y'all know, this is another way that they write the angle formula. This has nothing to do with a difference that you need to know. This is just a different program's version of it, is putting this little mark on it. Doesn't do anything to it. It's just showing you that's the name of an angle. So it says give another name for angle 1. What would you call that angle, guys? Angle what? What was it? A, B, C. Let's see. Angle 1, A, B, C. Yes. What's the other name it didn't ask for? What would you call it? What's the other option? CBA. Just name it backwards, guys. You can name it forward, you can name it backwards. The middle letter has to stay the same because the vertex must be the same. The middle letter must always be the vertex. Okay? Let's do the same for 2. What would you call 2? What was 2? I'm sorry. Sorry, that was my fault. C, B, E. I was marking it and wasn't paying attention. What's the other name? They didn't ask for it, but let's just give it. In case anybody called it this, EBC would also be correct. B has to be the middle letter. It's got to be the vertex. That's how you name angles. Okay, now based on the information that's down here on number 10, it says the measure of angle 1 is going to be 3x plus 4. And that the measure of angle 2 is going to be 7x minus 2. It also tells us the angle, excuse me, ABE is going to be 52. Guys, do you see the 2 parts equal the whole again? You got the 2 pieces of it. It equals the whole thing. That's what we're doing, the same thing that we did before on segments. Okay, if you have one part plus another part, when you add them together, it's going to equal the whole thing. So 3x plus 4 plus 7x minus 2 is going to equal 52. If this angle was 20 and this angle was 15, they would add up to 35. You would just add them. So we solve this equation. 3x plus 7x is going to give us 10x. 4 and negative 2 is going to give you 2 equals 52. We're going to minus 2 from both sides. Going to make it 10x equal to 50. Divide by 10 and x equals 5. Again, guys, that's the algebra part you're already supposed to be able to do. The first part is the geometry. This is the algebra. From there, once you find x, that's not the only answer you need. That's one of the two answers you need. It also says to find the measure of angle 1. So we have to plug it back into this one. When we plug it back into 3x plus 4, it's going to be 3 times 5 plus 4, which is going to be 15 plus 4, which is going to be 19. Questions? Okay, set up the last one, guys. Set it up. You should be able to set up the equation for the last one. Do that now. Draw on your picture right on there. Let's see what Miss Smith said. Sorry, guys. I'll set it up while I look at this email. Okay. Nope, not mine. Okay, guys, let's see if you got this one set up and solved right. So let's see what it says in the problem. It says 4x plus 5 is going to be the measure angle 1. So I'm going to put it out here, 4x plus 5, put a box around it so I can separate it and make it look different than the other one. The next one says measure angle 2 is going to be 6x minus 7. Again, boxing it in so I can tell the difference between it and the other problem. Tells me ABE the whole thing, so the whole thing I'm just going to write out here and put a box around it. It's going to be 7x plus 13. That's ABE, guys. Again, you got to be able to know what they're talking about when they tell you ABE because you know how to name it. So then we use the idea of a part plus a part equals a whole again, so you'd set it up as 4x plus 5 plus 6x minus 7 equals 7x plus 13. You're going to combine like terms so that these two give you 10x, and then you're going to combine these two to get negative 2 equals 7x plus 13. You're going to move all of your stuff to one side. To move all of your stuff to one side, you're going to take in minus 7x minus 7x. It's going to make it 3x minus 2 equals 13. You're going to add 2 to both sides. It's going to be 3x equals 15. And when you divide both sides by 3, you get x equals 5. Anybody have any questions just on solving for x? That's the first answer. The second answer is different. It doesn't ask you for something. It's a yes or no question. Guys, how can I tell if they're congruent? Plug it back into what? Got to do both of them, right? Because in order to tell if they're the same, you got to plug it back into both of them. You need to tell what these two are, so I'm going to plug it back into this one and this one. If they're equal, the answer will be yes. If they're not, the answer will be no. So when I plug back in, 4 times 5 plus 5 is going to put me at 20 plus 5, which is going to be 25. When I plug it back in the other one, 6 times 5 minus 7 is going to be 30 minus 7, which is 23. So yes or no? Nope, they are not congruent. And there you go, guys. Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything about it before we move on to the assignment? Now guys, I didn't check the first geometry assignment because I knew it was your first geometry assignment. So